Royal Caribbean has released the annual cruises, and they are not what we expected. If this is your first time here, hi, I'm James with Sea Days and Sunsets, and this channel is dedicated to all things travel, all things cruising, and a lot of gambling along the way. But I'm going to jump right into this because I had put a video out a while ago explaining to you what the annual cruise certificates were going to be and how all the lists were going to work and everything else. And Royal Caribbean has thrown us a complete curveball this week in the sense that instead of the exclusion list that we were expecting, letting us know which cruises we could not book with our Prime, Signature, Masters certificates, instead they gave us an inclusion list, more similar to an offer that we get either from certificates earned while we're cruising or or the monthly offers that you might receive, for free cruises. I do want to point out before I get too far in, I am coming to you from a hotel room in London after my transatlantic on the Liberty of the Seas. So my lighting's off, my audio might be off a little bit, but I'm going to do the best I can and show you as much good stuff as I can. But with all of this, the community is in a major uproar right now. Lots of comments, lots of things going on. Of course, very, very upset people. Some people aren't taking it all that badly, and they're getting the cruises they wanted, some things they weren't even expecting. And we're going to kind of walk through that a little bit here and talk about what each tier was used to receiving and what the documentation even still shows online you should be receiving. One thing I do want to point out before I jump over into all the numbers is the masters and signature numbers I'm about to show you are from posts in the public forums and everything out there. I have no way to validate these. The prime numbers I'm going to show you are from Kimberly's offers. I still haven't received mine yet. They are rolling out in phases, but I wanted to point that out that all of these are just numbers that have been posted. And even what I show you on the prime numbers could be different than what I receive when I get mine or what you might see on yours. So just check through it, kind of know what you're looking at, but here's some good information for you. As you can see here with the masters list, they have given you 61% of grand suites, which was what the initial promise was from Royal Caribbean, but they have also included junior suites and balconies here. As you can see, 25, almost 26% are junior suites, and 13% are balcony offers here for a lot of the offerings that are being sent out that are on this inclusion list now. And hopefully I explained that well. We were expecting just the list of cruises that we could not book with our certificates, which is generally called the exclusion list. But instead, we've gotten these offers here. And so for the masters, the people who achieve 100,000 points or above, or on the slot machines, if you want to think of it, people who have put through $500,000 through Royal Caribbean slot machines, they are very upset right now that they're not receiving all grand suite offers here. And I kind of understand it. I'm just a prime person. So I don't have as high of expectations, but I do get it that if I was to push through $500,000, that I might kind of be upset to find out without any notification that they had changed that up. Here's the breakdown also by the ship class here for the Masters, though, that you can see they have about 6% of the Icon class available to them, which I think is what a lot of people were hoping to book with any of the certificates was to get on the newest ship possible. But in this case, the very most that you have is the Oasis class ships. We love the Oasis class, but I understand that everybody thought they'd be able to pick Icon out somewhere throughout the year that wasn't being excluded, or a lot of people did through there. But the Oasis is the top, and then the Quantum, which is another great ship class, is second most on here, and you can see how the rest break down. So with this, there are almost 1,500 cruises available, but that is a far cry from a few hundred excluded sailings that you would be able to book anything else, any other 7-day cruise throughout the entire year if it had not been excluded. So this was Masters. Let's jump over to Signature. Here's a breakdown, very similar for Signature. The Signature had been promised a balcony and still documented that way on Royal Caribbean's website last time I looked, that it still shows that you should be receiving that grand suite at Masters or the balcony Signature and interior at Prime, whereas here 84.5% come out to be balconies. And then on the flip side to this, compared to Masters, you do have some, you have 9.1% that are now junior suites that you're eligible for at Signature. So you could take that kind of either way you want to look at it. That was a bit of a bump there. And then there are some other ocean views and even down to interior for your Signature cruise. I doubt many Signatures are going to jump right on that, but they probably are receiving a lot of offers here. Um, Again, the Oasis class is the largest percentage that the Signatures received in their offers here for the 1,321 sailings that are on that inclusion list. What I don't know for any of this is if this list is going to kind of change throughout the year. We always know with offers that things do disappear as they fill up, but also as the cruises don't fill up along the way, I wonder if they'll include some more things as the legend comes out as we move through the year. If that's been a more popular ship, or if some things are happening, if some other icons could open up. Whereas you can see here, it's only 6.1% of icon sailings for Signature. And then Radiance actually takes the number 2 spot here um, at 17% for the sailings, but Quantum's very close behind that. There's a pretty big grouping of all the different classes here. So the classes aren't quite as obvious as a distinction, with the exception of the icon here being the lowest, knowing that that's what everyone would really love to be on, I expect. You can let me know in the comments if you really didn't care about the icon or if it's what you were counting on here, because that's what we were counting on. We were trying to get on the icon or the star for a couple of very specific weeks, and we knew that there was a chance we wouldn't get on for those weeks, but we weren't expecting such a limited selection as we get to the prime options here, and I'll go ahead and jump over to those there. So our third setup here is the prime, and you can see that we get a total of 543 cruises that you can choose from. 81% of those are interiors, and they did not mark those as interior guarantees. So this is a very interesting one. So for our interiors, we may be able to choose our room, which we have not been able to do recently for a lot of the lower offers, for the low roller, as I call it. We've been starting to having to book even those interior guarantees all the way up through the balcony guarantees that we're working on. But here we're hoping, at least out of these, out of those 440 interiors that are being offered, hopefully we'll be able to pick our room. But I haven't seen anyone post yet or comment in any way as to whether when they called in to book an interior, if it was a guarantee or not. Now, then there are saw a couple options here for ocean view guarantee and balcony guarantee. So we did get some things at that prime level that we weren't expecting. And then for the ship class breakdown, it's exactly the same. The Oasis is by far the biggest numbers of what's available there. There are a couple icons here that are in there, and Kimberly and I are definitely going to look to see when those sailings are and see how that fits in our schedule. But at our very first cursory review, it did not seem like those were going to be working for us. But we do understand at Prime that we're not necessarily always going to be able to jump on those new great ships and everything there. And then the second largest here was actually the Vision class for us that kind of jumped out as far as what was being offered. But with all those Oasis class offerings and the Quantum class offerings, those are the ones that we do. We love those ships and we truly enjoy them. And so we're going to try to follow up and see where we can go this year, what fits into the schedule for us and everything. So that's kind of the breakdown. Let me know in the comments. Does this work for you? Is this very disappointing for you? There's, like I said, the community has been extremely vocal. As soon as the masters list started coming out yesterday, people became worried and they could see what was happening. And the only real disappointment for me is once again Royal not communicating this ahead of time, but just rolling it out in clear contradiction to what the documentation says on their website. So please let me know what your thoughts are. But otherwise, I hope you're able to get the cruise you want. And I wish you good luck this year in your casino time.